Good day, guys, Austin, and in this one today, it's time for EMU-NATION, which means that is probably my favourite time of week, because I love bringing these to you. Now, this is no different on today's episode. In fact, this is probably the most action-packed, biggest emulator news I have brought to you since I started doing this. And I'm not just talking in terms of big news, I'm talking in terms of how much there is of it. Because to be honest, after a bit of a lull last week, they've all come out the woodwork at once. And as per normal, I'm struggling to fit all this into my, well, segment. So, to start us off then, emulation news. We'll be looking at CEMU. As per normal, I should just call this the CEMU-NATION rather than the EMU-NATION, to play on words that other people have been using about my show. Huge updates as per normal. And also, they're not the only ones on the block of the Wii U emulator, and I'll be going into a bit more depth on the Wii U emulation in just a second. Elsewhere, CITRA. Again, a long tooth when it comes to the emulation on my channel. CITRA is the 3DS emulator. Now, these have been, I would say, smashing out huge updates here and there. They're a steady horse. I'd say slowly catches the worm, or whatever the proverb is. I've got no idea what that's all about. But yeah, they've been doing some updates in the background, and well, I'll be covering those in just a second. In the world of front ends, we've got Launchbox as per normal, and GameX. Now, Launchbox is always moving forward, as I've covered countless times again on this update and on previous videos on my channel. Jason Carr over there, he works tirelessly updating this almost on a daily basis. Now, I'm going to bring you up to speed of where it's at, where it's going, and, well, what's been going on, to be honest, because, well, they've turned some soil, let's just say that. And elsewhere, we've got GameX. Now, I covered this on my last EMU-NATION, and to be honest, I wanted to do it justice, so I got in touch with the developer over there, Tom Spears, and he's been working tirelessly himself to give me a package, and to give you guys a package, it's turned out, that you would be proud of. Something to do this front end justice. So we'll be looking at that in just a second. Oh, and elsewhere, everything, absolutely everything. Everything's been coming out the woodwork, and well, it's too much to fit in this lot, because I'll just be going on to the intro rather than getting stuck in. So, make sure you stick to the end, because there's some new series going on, there's some huge updates in terms of emulation, and I've got a little surprise for you also. So, without further ado, let's just get stuck in. Welcome to EMU-NATION then, my little compadres. And in this one, we're going to be first off looking at emulation. Now, I've got to get it out of the way because it's a weekly thing for me now. CEMU. CEMU have updated, or are about to update, should I say, to version 1.5.4. Now, according to the developers, they will be releasing this on Wednesday the 20th of July for the Patreon members. Now, of course, this then will be released to the general public 7 days after that. But if you want it on that date, basically you have to pay $5. I'm not saying I agree, not saying I disagree. You all know my viewpoint on paying for stuff. But in this kind of scenario, choice is yours, guys. Choice is yours. But again, 7 days after that, on the 27th, by my rough calculations on the cuff now, it will be available to everybody in the public. So, what is actually in this build? Yes, it's version 1.5.4. This is only 1 point mark from the last one. However, what this has actually brought to the party, as always, is huge. Now, with this incarnation, we are seeing the introduction of VSync, something which is quite minuscule in terms of, I don't know, if you put this into the PC gaming kind of comparison. However, in terms of emulation, it's quite a big step forward. You got to think about emulation is hampered by glitches especially with audio and glitches with visualization. With the introduction of VSync, what this does is it enables the visual representation being emulated from your system to match up to, I don't know, say for example, the actual way the game should be running, and your monitor, and your hardware. So basically, it improves the visuals, and anything that strides that forward is huge. Now, this also has a lot of, I don't know, After Effects once that is in place. It's too much to go into on here, but I'll be covering this in an in-depth discussion going on about this emulator the next time I bring it out. Next time, I promise. However, on this incarnation, elsewhere they are looking at OS library updates, they call it. Basically, what this means in layman's terms is they're going to be looking at graphical glitches being improved, so a lot more games will be actually playable, especially visually, and audio glitches being improved on also. So more compatibility all round. Yay! That's what we like to see. They've also released some footage of Splatoon. Apparently, this is becoming quite a long list now, but this is added to the games of which are now 100% playable on the system. Yes, apparently there is some graphical minor glitches, also audible minor glitches as well. So yes, there is still strides forward they need to do for this, but this is now 100% playable from start to finish. They've also released some footage of them playing Donkey Kong Country, Tropical, whatever it is, I can't remember, Tropical Freeze, that's the one. It's looking good. There's more games added to this daily. Now, of course, the library for this system is huge, so each time they get little compatibility issues cleared up, a whole number of games are added to the list, so it's up to everybody else to start testing all those games and see which ones are working, which ones aren't, blah de blah. But again, each little incarnation and evolution of this emulator brings new games to the party, so that's only good. Also, they've been working on the virtual console side of things. So the actual, this is a bit of a mind bender, but the console can now emulate games. So, in theory, what this is doing is emulating an emulator from within the emulator. Does that even make sense? I don't know. But yeah, you get the gist. Basically, it's running another system from within the emulator. Dolphin managed to do this and opened quite a few doors with this incarnation. But with this one, who knows? I cannot wait to get my hands on this version of the emulator, to be honest. It sounds like a lot more progress has been brought forward. The last one that they brought out got me playing Super Mario as I've always wanted to. You know, I've got virtually no glitches on the screen, everything's working 100%, and it's absolutely awesome. So any kind of improvement upon that gets my hat of approval. Thank you very much, CEMU team. Great work as always. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Elsewhere then, now this is a newcomer. Well, it's not even a newcomer, to be honest. DECAF. Now these guys were actually out emulating the Wii U before CEMU. These have been around for some time. It's an open source emulator, which means that anybody can join on the bandwagon. Now CEMU, although making huge strides forward, especially surpassing the emulation mark from DECAF, it's only made by two guys, and how they are doing what they do is, well, anybody's guess. But DECAF is open source. Anybody can jump on the bandwagon. And to be honest, it's been left by the side for some time, and it's not been getting the respect it deserves, to be honest, because, I don't know, a few months ago I tried this one out. It was still getting to the stages where I could boot games, but they were by no means playable. Now, brought to my attention lately is the fact that this emulator is now playing games, and it's playing them quite well, to be honest. Yes, there is still some strides forwards to be made in terms of actual speed ups, but at these very early stages, in terms of when they last picked up the mantle on this one, absolutely unbelievable. There's quite a few games which are now playable on this emulator, and with it being open source and more people joining the party, this could stride forward even further. So although I encourage competition, I would, you know, somehow like to see some kind of meeting of the minds with these two emulators. They both worked on the same system, they're both making huge strides. It'll be great if these two developers, although it's not two developers, it's actually two teams, come together and, I don't know, knock heads, because DECAF is actually taking a completely different approach. This is working from in terms of visuals, a two-screen approach. Now CEMU uses a way of switching between the main view and the actual view in your controller. The DECAF version actually emulates both of them simultaneously on the screen, whilst also being able to control both of them simultaneously on the screen. How that works, unless you're an octopus, I've got no idea. However, awesome, guys, awesome. Any kind of ideas like this is absolutely awesome, and again, my hat's off to you. Keep us updated, please, with what's going out there. Elsewhere then, it looks like Nintendo is just cleaning up today with the actual emulators, CITRA. Now again, I've covered CITRA quite a few times on my channel in different types of, I don't know, whether it be guides, whether it be actual footage and stuff like that, but that emulator is always moving forward. Although it doesn't have huge increases like the CEMU guys, it's still moving forward, and not just on a daily basis, but sometimes on an hourly basis. Now, this again, people are working on this, and it's making little notches each time there's a new update. It's one stride forwards, but because it's constant and so fluid in the way it is striding forwards, when you take, I don't know, a build from a month ago and compare it to a build from now, and so on and so forth, them strides are absolutely huge. Now I'm seeing some huge speed increases with certain games, especially the Pokemon series. Yes, Pokemon, the bane of my life. And I'm also seeing a lot of more compatibility across the board with a hell of a lot of new games. So I encourage you all to read up on the emulator guides and get this stuck in and play your games to your heart's content, because this is now becoming big, very big. So thank you, CITRA team, awesome work. Now let's take a look at front ends then. And first up, we'll take a look at Launchbox. Why not? Because just like CEMU, I cover this almost on a weekly basis. Now the reason why I cover this on a weekly basis is also because of the same kind of reasons as CEMU. It's updated on a weekly basis, if not more. In fact, this emulator is updated almost daily, if not hourly, and in some cases live. Actually live. The developer there, Jason Carr, the head of the team, he actually live streams and develops whilst you watch, and you can raise your input, you can come up with ideas, and he'll try to implement them as much as possible to give you guys what you want to see inside the front end. Now this is amazing, absolutely mind-blowing, and the way he's going about this is so fresh and so good that some huge updates have come to fruition almost weekly. Now of course this has its drawbacks in terms of compatibility and in terms of actual coding, because those of you who know anything about all this stuff, each new edition, it needs to be bug tested, it needs to be brought to the main realm. People need to play around with it to make sure this is 100% compatible, that there's no hidden issues. Each stride forward with an emulator, although it's a stride forward, can also have detrimental effects on various other features or programs from within the same program. It's a tough beast to tame, and although we've been putting up with these huge updates, what they've not been doing is actually bug testing, getting everything stable, and, well, battening down the hatches, let's say. So Jason Carr took a couple of weeks there, and he's been basically beavering away just to clean up all the code, make sure there's no bugs that's bothering anybody, listening to what actually has been implemented and how it's affected the user to try and improve that, to make sure that everything is 100% settled down and compatible across the board. And to be honest, he's done that well. And just because of that, he's just released a demo of what is version 6.3, a stable release of Launchbox, which has all these new updates actually implemented within there for everybody to use, with hopefully a stable version. So I'm going to take a look at this, be getting stuck into it and seeing what it actually brings to the table, and see how much this now stable version has improved since the last time I looked to it in fine detail. So I look forward to a video on that coming soon. Elsewhere in the front end world, GameX, a front end that I covered in my last EMU-NATION video. Now, I seen what was going on with the Evolution being released, and I got in touch with Tom Spears, and we've been having a good chat, to be honest. I want to do him and his front end as much justice as possible. Now, because I've not been in the loop so much, I feel that I could not do his front end justice just by getting stuck in, doing a quick how-to, doing a quick this is what I came up with, and a quick review. I want to go into depth because I believe that this front end deserves it. This is in the elite of front ends. It's got heritage, it's got pedigree, it's got time served. Everybody who has been in the front end scene knows the kind of quality that comes from the GameX industry. So I got in touch with Tom Spears over there, and he has decided, or I persuaded him to let me have a look at a build which I could do it justice with. In other words, give me something I can play with. Let me see what this puppy can do. Now, he's been working tirelessly over the last week, and he's come up with a build which not only shows me what's going on, but actually that you guys, as the users, can actually download and get involved yourself. Now, I believe that because this build is so large, it's like 20 gigs or something, it can be used on both the standard version of Game X and the newest version of the beta, which is Game X Evolution. Now, as of yet, because it's 20 gigs, I'm still downloading it. Anybody can get involved with this, and anybody can have a look themselves. But like I said, this is 20 gigs, which means that due to his website limitations, you do actually have to be a member to actually take a look at this. If you're not a member, don't worry, because as we speak, I'm downloaded like a furious downloader, whatever that metaphor may be. I got no idea. So when that does download, I'm going to be doing a dedicated video into this build in particular. Also, I'm going to be doing a dedicated video on how to actually get this set up for yourself. And in the future, once I've covered a few more of the front ends that I want to get out of the way, I'm going to actually be doing a review of all the front ends themselves, the good points, the bad points, what this brings to certain people's PCs and setups, because some of them are very good maybe on an arcade cabinet, some of them may be good on a HT PC, so on and so forth. So we'll be going into a lot more detail on that one. Right then, guys, this brings me on to some huge things that I want to bring out to you, hopefully this week. I'm working like a tireless dog at this moment in time, trying to bring all this to you. But, as promised, I've got first off the arcade build. Yes, I've just finished the actual recording of me setting up the control system, so that is going to be part 2, released hopefully as soon as possible. So, update on that one. Dolphin 5.0. I brought this news to you, it must be a few weeks ago now. The Dolphin 5.0 being released to the general public. And what an awesome update it is. I feel that this does deserve a dedicated tutorial on how to set this up. Now, I'm going to bring in some huge new features to this tutorial because I'm not just stopping at 4K. I found a way to push this even further. So we're not just going to be setting up 4K kind of standard Dolphin. We're going to be setting this up on low-end PCs. We're going to be getting the problematic games working, which is still throwing some people some issues, but I'm going to be showing you how to get those working. And a big one for me, I'm going to be showing you how to get Dolphin 5.0 working in virtual reality. Yes, virtual reality, without even needing a Vive or a Oculus, anything like that. I'm going to be showing you how you can do this on an affordable budget using just what you've got at home. So yeah, this is going to be a huge emulator guide, something which has never been covered, well, from what I can see anywhere, to the general public. So look forward to that one. Also, Jesus wept, I've got so much stuff coming. DEMUL. I want to be releasing a DEMUL guide. Each week I want to be going back and I want to do kind of the retro emulators. In other words, emulators which aren't so covered so much in the industry and the media, but which do deserve as much coverage as possible. Now, I've talked about in probably my first episode of EMU-NATION that DEMUL has been having huge strides forward with its work in progress builds. People are constantly updating this one after such a lull, not just of months but years, and this one is moving forward quite swiftly. So I'm going to be doing a dedicated setup guide for this, covering the Dreamcast side of it, covering the Naomi, Autonomous Wave, all the other arcade boards that it brings to the party, because this is an emulator that just doesn't emulate one thing, it emulates quite a lot of games, and a lot of them are very high quality. So each week I'm going to be doing something like this. I'm releasing an emulator which should be covered but which isn't yet because it's not the in thing. So yeah, look forward to that one, guys. And finally, I'll probably stop waffling on now. A new series. I'm going to bring another new series to this, and that's going to be the Simply Channel of the Month. Now, I think that there's so many good channels out there that are doing so good content, but they just don't get recognized. You know, a lot of this is, I don't know, because people don't know how to do things on YouTube. I myself am very much a newcomer in this world of YouTube, so even I'm learning on a daily basis. But some of them are just buried in a mountain of, excuse my language, in a mountain of shit that is on this site. It's absolutely unbelievable how much crap you have to wade through just to get some something of a channel of quality. So what I want to do to you is bring to you quality that should be heard. They should have their voice. They should have their 5 minutes of fame. And the only way I can think of is to keep this as fair as possible. Now, each month I'm going to be releasing, like I said, the Simply channel of the month. However, I don't decide this. You decide this. So to start it all rolling, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you 5 options of the channel of the month. I'm going to pick my top 5 channels of who I think should be given this kind of, I don't know, award in a huge ceremony. Then what you do over the space of a month, you will vote for who you think out of those 5 should win that channel of the month. Now, of course, some of them may be new to you, which is absolutely amazing because you may never seen the content that this person has been bringing to you, and it could have been lost again in the sea of YouTube. Again, apologies, shit. So it could be 5 fresh new channels that you could adore, you could fall in love with, subscribe and see them on a weekly basis. Now, whoever wins that would then have to make 5 choices, and again they will get back in touch with me. We'll do another video, we'll probably team up, and then they will give their 5 choices that will then go to vote again, and the same process will happen again over and over. So every winner gets their 5 choices. Those 5 choices get voted on. Whoever gets the winner from there again gets their 5 choices, and it keeps on going on. The chain is endless, as they say. So hopefully it could bring something new to the party of all this, and it could be a new series. It's just one video a month which should raise the awareness of some great content providers that are out there. So yeah guys, that's my new idea of this week and this month of what is going to come. Again, there's a lot to digest there, so my apologies if this was a bit longer than normal, but I just want to get a lot of this information out there. But this week, trust me guys, I'm going to be releasing something which is going to raise some eyebrows. I don't want to say too much in case people start guessing, but this week there's going to be a huge video released on my channel, and I've got a feeling that it could change the way people look at their gaming setups. So that's it for that. Well, now we can all have a rest, guys. Now we can all digest what's just happened. Please tell me about anything that you want to be brought to this. What do you think about what I just said? What's your views on these emulators? That's it for this week, guys, in terms of EMU-NATION. Unless there's anything more that comes along, I'll bring it to you as soon as I can. But please, make sure that you like, please make sure that you subscribe, share this as much as you can, let the world know what is happening in the world of emulation and gaming. But most of all, guys, most of all, you have a good day. Laters!